The last of the artists I'm going to talk about from the 18th century, and she really is working mostly in the 19th century, so around 1800, is Marguerite Gérard. Now, Marguerite Gérard has a definite family connection with art. She is Fragonard's sister-in-law. Fragonard, of course, was one of the most famous French Rococo painters of the 18th century. As unmarried women often did, they live with, if they have a brother or a sister, when their parents are no more, they might live with their relatives. And she lived with her sister. She lived with her husband. Once again, something that so many of these women artists did have to put up with is someone accuses her, so the twin accusation, oh, she's having an affair with with Fragonard, which was a false accusation. It didn't make a lot of sense, both because the living arrangements were pretty normal when an unmarried sister lives with the other sister, it may have been part and parcel of the same kind of thing of, oh, she's a woman. She's obviously a woman who has her own profession is suspect. But also the accusation of, oh, Fragonard painted her paintings also raised its ugly head. As you'll see, this is probably fictional as well. She's painting genre painting. We haven't seen that since Judith Lester. And she's the first French woman genre painter with professional success. She's appealing to a particular group of people, the prosperous middle class. They have to be prosperous so they can buy the pictures, but the middle class may not always want pictures of classical antiquity, or but they might want some people pictures too. So these definitely are going to appeal to people. They often have a suggested storyline, for example. She's a very skilled artist, particularly, glazing techniques are mentioned. One of the reasons for this question about did she collaborate with Fragonard, or did Fragonard paint her paintings? No, he didn't paint her paintings. The styles are very different. There could have been some collaboration on some things, and you will still see these two pictures, sometimes called Fragonard's and sometimes called Marguerite Gérard's. The evidence is that there were engravings made after two paintings, The Beloved Child and The First Step. And the engravings are inscribed, painted by, the original painting, Monsieur Fragonard and Mademoiselle Gérard. So, does that prove it? It sounds like proof. Except the suggestion has been made that Fragonard's name was added by the engraver for commercial purposes. You use a big name person. You don't just say Mademoiselle Gérard. Fragonard was part of this. So he may have been part of the design of these paintings. But there's a lot of Gérard in here, and they may have just been by Gérard and his name added. Is the reason they say, it's by Fragonard because there's just, of course, it's a woman. She can't possibly be doing any hard work. She's incapable. Or is it, even if we say, it would be possible for two painters to collaborate, especially the older painter and the younger one. But they do have different styles. Fragonard is extremely airy Rococo, very painterly, very spontaneous brushworks. Gérard does, like we said, glazing techniques, layers of glazes, and she's more meticulous. Some of her compositions are tighter. So, you're not looking at it and saying, this is Fragonard. You can't, really probably be sure. So I thought I'd bring you in a picture of same subject, actually, The Reader. They're both called The Reader. Fragonard's is a lovely young lady up close holding the book with very, very deft, free brushstrokes, very airy. The other is a little scene by his sister-in-law, Marguerite Gérard, in which we have two women, full length, and as you can see, it's a little bit tighter in the way it's painted. They're looking at books too, but they're just totally different feel. Now, is it possible that this painting, The Beloved Child, this is the one that was engraved, which is now in the Fogg Museum in Cambridge, is it possible that this was, at least in part, designed by Fragonard? There's certainly some airy feeling about it. Or is that just because, certainly there'd be some influence from him? The painting, they do say Fragonard with this one, but more and more people give it to Marguerite Gérard. The subject is that good mother theme, maternal love. Here it's not the royal maternal love, and it's not the classical maternal love. Here it's just supposedly a contemporary young mother playing with her baby, with her nursemaid and dog. People, taking the child out for an airing, and this is a very popular subject, as you might admit. When I did take these pictures, they are too dark. It's a very light and airy color scheme. I'm just trying to give you some details. On the web, I found its companion piece. It's called First Steps, and here you see some very classically dressed women with the baby in. It's really interesting because they do have these what do they call them? They have wheels on them, and you put your baby in, and your baby can sort of have balance and toddle around. I had a third cousin that she just had to be in her little wheelie thing. This one is almost like a little skirt that's made out of some kind of wood or boning or something that helps the baby stand erect and learn to walk. And you see the baby is starting to walk and moving toward its mother. It's a charming little piece of maternal love, once again. This also, they said Fragonard. It doesn't look like a Fragonard much at all. The figures are a lot tighter. It just doesn't look like his style or his compositions. I'll show you some others. The motherhood theme was a bestseller, probably too. And so we do see the idea of maternal love over and over again in some of her pictures. How happy it is to be a mother, domestic felicity. The mother is loving her baby while the nursemaid is just sort of looking on. And this time they have a cat. Sometimes they have a dog, sometimes they have a cat. This is the piano lesson and a mother serenading her child who is in the little crib baby basket here. So once again, two mothers with their children, and music as well. Two different age children. Once again, that mother love theme. Not all of her paintings are happy. This one says called Bad News, and as you can see, the woman is extremely distraught. She's got a letter that has some bad news in it, and her friend or companion is trying to comfort her. We don't know specifically what the bad news is. We can only guess. And so there is something that people could do. It has a kind of narrative. Is it the woman's husband has, maybe he's been off in business, has he died, or her lover, her fiance, or some other family member, or whatever. We just have to imagine what the bad news is. The little dog is, which we see so often in her pictures, is there, just because people had little dogs, and also possibly the idea of the fidelity. This is a painting of the artist, and it's a female artist who is painting the musician. So we've combined art and music in the same picture. And the woman is accomplished in both of them. It has been suggested that this is a self-portrait of Marguerite Gérard. It bears a resemblance to a drawing that Fragonard did of his sister-in-law. No question about Fragonard working on this one. The textural detail, lovely. But you can also see, the solid figures. And here is a work. This is a work that's in the National Museum of Women in the Arts. Once again, my slide has come out too dark, but you can at least see some things about it. It's called A Prelude to a Concert. And it's a woman who evidently is going to be singing or making music in some way. There's the musical score laid out. In the background, there's a kind of shadowy figure of a young man, possibly her music instructor or just the person who's going to be performing with her. There's both a dog and a cat in this one. You can see little kitty cats sticking their head out behind the music. Lots of beauty in the shimmering texture of the dress. And the dog is on the floor. And then I tried to get a picture. Here it is. It's a little dark to see it, but there's the suggestion of the man in the background. Once again, you get to make up your own story. There were a number of women at in the early 19th century. Some of these famous neoclassical artists who did have female pupils. Even if they wouldn't let them in the Royal Academy, some of them had some success in exhibiting in the salon. One of them is Constance Carpentier, who we mentioned before as the possible author of a portrait that had been believed to be a Jacques-Louis David. She was a pupil of two famous artists, Jacques-Louis David. Okay, Constance Carpentier was a pupil of Jacques-Louis David, and she was a neoclassical history painter who also did portraits and genre painters. She did exhibit in the salon. She had a prix d'encouragement for a young painter and a gold medal. And this was the only picture that I was able to find of hers. It's melancholy, so an emotional theme. The painting which used to be attributed to her, the woman drawing in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, dated 1801, is now attributed to another woman artist, Denise Villers. Marie Denise Villers. And so you could say there's an attribution controversy. Possibly it's a self-portrait. We don't know. We don't know what she looked like. But it is interesting that this portrait of the woman drawing now is considered to be by a woman artist, where it previously was believed to be a David.